And we are on the verge of economic crisis. I made a video about that last time. Go check that out. I do think it's all going to come crashing down at the end of next year. I do. I think we're going to hit a recession in February. We're in this Christmas season right now. So what we're seeing is a lot of increased spending, a lot of happiness and optimism. This is December. It's the best month of the year for shopping, spending, the economy, stimulus, all that jazz. But January is the slowest month of the year for a lot of industries. And I think once that reality hits, I think we enter February into a recession, which I think the Trump administration will try to hide for a while. But it all seems very likely to me. And again, like I said, you have Trump on TV saying we're in the golden age. I just don't think that's true. And here's Harry Enten from CNN going over all of it.
Yeah, Donald Trump was elected to solve the economic crisis, to solve the pricing crisis. But at this particular point, these numbers are going in the complete wrong direction. On the economy, the country is going on the wrong track, the right track. You go back to January, these numbers were pretty split, right? 43% said wrong track, 36% said right track, right when Donald Trump came in office.
By the way, that split between the wrong track and right track was actually very favorable for President Trump. Those are actually, people don't realize this, those are impressive numbers that he was dealing with at the beginning of his term this year.
But look at that. That wrong track number has skyrocketed up to 56%. My goodness gracious, who say that the country, at least when it comes to the economy, is on the wrong track. And that right track number, Kate Baldwin, has fallen to 29%. So what was a single-digit spread has ballooned up to a 27-point spread in the negative direction. The bottom line is this. Donald Trump is trying to spin a narrative, and the American people aren't buying the spin that is coming out of the White House.
That's right. We're not buying it. And again, the generational divide reveals itself here even. Why aren't people buying it? It's because the boomers don't make up the majority anymore. When it comes to these polls, they don't make up the voting majority population anymore. They're hitting the deceased line. There's a new generation now, even with Gen Xers, I'd say, who are tech savvy and have more of a social media presence, but especially with millennials who were basically raised on social media, and Gen Zers who have known nothing else other than the internet. These people don't fall for the same tactics that the boomers did. If this was 1990 and the internet wasn't around yet, and the same circumstances that we're in now were happening then with the same President Trump, Trump would be able to go on the air and he'd be able to say, we're in the golden age, we're making a comeback, everything's fine, go buy a house, don't worry about it. Jerome Powell's leaving in May, everything's gonna get even better, it's all going well. Just look at the stock market in the newspaper, see the stock, the NASDAQ, the Dow, it's all doing well. And boomers would believe it because they always have been that way. Boomers never felt the need to do their own independent research. They were raised off the idea that the media was the truth, that the news was impartial, and that they were never being lied to. And then you mix in the fact that boomers, I've noticed this, have a very head in the sand approach. They know they fucked up America. They know they drag raced on our economy for their own gain. And they know that they basically lit a torch at both ends, and they know it's coming to an end. They're just hoping they can retire and die before it all collapses. So when you talk to boomers about the economy, they literally stick their head in the sand like an ostrich. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to know what's happening. They just want to pretend like it's not. And so it works when Trump tells the boomers everything's going well. But what you have is a far more politically active young generation, especially in Gen Z, who are paying attention because their lives are just getting started and there's nothing here left for them. So they're watching everything. And they're not gaslit easily like the old boomers were. They don't believe in the news. They don't even watch the news. They go on social media. They talk amongst themselves. There's this collectivity amongst the Gen Zers that the boomers never had. Boomers were the era of individualism. They were competitive with each other. They were selfish. They coined the term greed is good. They were all about themselves. It's now the opposite. With Gen Z especially, they have to come together. There's a strength in numbers mentality there. There's a survival element here. And that's what's going on. And so Gen Zers are talking with each other, especially the men who are far more conservative with their ideals at least. And they're saying, yo, society sucks. Something needs to change. And that's what's happening. That's why they're not eating the slop, the boomer slop that Trump is feeding them when it comes to the stock market being good. Nobody falls for that anymore. You can't just go on TV anymore and say the economy's doing great and we're in a golden era now. Don't believe your lying eyes. It just doesn't work.
In these new numbers, what is driving the pessimism?
Yeah, what is driving the pessimism? I mean, we've done a bunch of segments on this, and we're going to continue to do segments on this when polling, like what came out yesterday from NBC News, continues to show it. Top concern for you, economic concern for you and your family. Look at this. Number one, we've said it over and over again. 44% say inflation. I looked at the second one on it. Look at that. It's all the way back at 9% taxes and take-home pay. It's inflation overwhelmingly driving this economic pessimism. And I will tell you this, until the American people think that inflation is under control, they will continue to have pessimistic feelings about the economy because inflation is numero uno by a wide, wide margin in driving this economic pessimism.
And you know the number one way to instill in the American public that things are getting better? It's honestly, I've said this before, it's grocery prices. What you're seeing with the Trump administration right now is they want to talk about the gas prices. And rightfully so, let them have the win. They deserve it. Gas prices are at a new low, not recorded since March of 2021, pretty much right before Joe Biden fucked everything up. So fair play. But the problem is gas prices just don't eat away enough at the everyday American's paycheck. Most people fill up their tank, once a week? I would estimate most people spend maybe $2,500 a year on gas at most. It's just not enough. But food prices, people need to eat, and people are eating a lot, of course. And people go grocery shopping every single week, and it's a big bill every single week, especially if you're buying for a family. But that's what's really whittling away at people. If food prices come down, which they largely haven't yet, I'm in the grocery store all the time because I'm a professional fat ass, and I see the prices, and many of them have not changed since the record Biden inflation that we saw in late 2022. 9% inflation, I remember it was a crazy time. And those prices they skyrocketed, and they barely have come down since. Some prices have gone up, actually, even, in part due to the Trump tariffs, like coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I don't care. I also like Trump tariffs overall, so I don't complain too much. But you get the point here. If in some cases prices are going up, and in best cases, prices are either going down by 3 cents or not at all, we don't have a good economy yet.
So aside the president on this, how does this look party versus party?
Yeah, okay. So I think this is the key thing, right? Because oftentimes they'll say, hey, look, we're blaming the president, but we've seen some polling in which Republicans still lead Democrats. But take a look here. Party trusted more on rising prices. Back in October of 2022, before that midterm election, it was Republicans trusted more by 14 points. You come now, it's a completely different tune. Now Democrats are trusted more by 4 points. So it's not just the president that the American people are turning on when it comes to inflation. It is, in fact, the Republican Party as well. A massive shift to the left towards the Democratic Party.
And that right there truly is the biggest disgrace of all, because for all of my life even, the Republicans have always been the party associated with a better economy. Always. That was the one win when it came to controlling the narrative that the Republicans had a grip on. The Democrats were always the party for social rights. The Republicans were always the party for fiscal responsibility and for a better economy. Even when Trump was elected last year, there was a spiteful admission of that by Democrats who literally stated, wow, apparently no one cares about women's abortion rights. I hope the cheaper gas and lower cost at the grocery store was worth it. It was a spiteful way of saying, hey, you chose to vote for a better economy over social rights. It was just, nobody questioned it, not even last year. It was always, wow, the people just only care about the economy. That's why they voted Republican. And now that's not even true. According to this poll here, and it's CNN, granted, but Harry Enten has been a good pollster, in my opinion. I actually view Harry Enten as a somewhat reliable source. I actually think he might be a closet Republican, if I'm being honest with you. Nevertheless, take the results for what they are, take them with a grain of salt. People are now favoring Democrats more when it comes to solving economic problems. That's terrible. I've never seen something like that in my life. But here we are, 4-point favorability. And the Republicans deserve to be in this spot. And it is President Trump's fault. And it is causing a generational divide because the boomers are too insulated with all of the wealth they've accumulated over the years to even understand why the young generations are complaining. Even worse so, in complete ignorance, they then make posts about how Gen Zers are lazy. Give me a fucking break. President Trump has less than 1 year to get a grip on what the American people are struggling with and to solve it, or at the very least make major progress towards solving it. Something needs to change now, or I don't care how many court cases Republicans win. Louisiana versus Calais, racial gerrymandering. I don't care how many states redistrict. Texas gaining 5 seats, Indiana gaining 1. It doesn't matter. There will be a blue wave in the midterms next year if we hit September of next year and the economy is still in the same shape then that it's in right now. It's going to be a big, big problem. If you enjoyed that clip, be sure to check out my YouTube channel where I have the full video where this clip was taken from published. And if you're America First like I am and you're an American advocate, be sure to subscribe and like the post. Thanks so much for watching.